friends and family for tuning in to another Facebook Live event here with KALEO. I am James Baiseri. This is Chessa Sanders. Yes. We run KALEO Real Estate Company here. And so we're going to go over some 7 home selling myths, and we're going to bust some common misconceptions.
Yes.
Chessa, lead us off. How are we busting these? What's going on?
Mythbusters. There's lots of stuff you hear on the internet. You're Googling, you're talking with a friend. Some of these things might be accurate. Some of them aren't. So we're live streaming on Facebook, Instagram, and we're on Zoom. So
yes.
If we're looking at different screens, that's why.
That's what's happening.
Just want to start it off that this is really the goal of this live stream, is to clear up confusion about the home selling process. Moving is stressful, and at KALEO we like to reduce your stress, the anxiety of a move, by giving you information and confidence in our experience, knowledge, and the integrity in which we do the sale of your home. So thank you for joining us. And also, quick disclaimer, we do not provide tax, legal, or accounting advice, so please consult the appropriate professional for any of that.
That's right. We're not a lot of things. Zoologists.
Yes,
general contractors, we're not a lot of things.
Yeah, geologists.
Geologists.
So this information has been prepared for informational purposes only, and so just want to give that quick disclaimer. So
yes.
The 7 common misconceptions that we are going to be going through. I'm going to go from start to finish, and then we'll break each one down. So
yes.
The first one is you have to do repairs. Second one is if you price high, you get more money.
Mm-hmm.
The third myth is spring and summer are the best time to list. The fourth one, all real estate agents do the same thing.
Busted. We're going to bust that one up.
We're not all the same. 5, you should never accept the first offer. 6, remodeling always has an ROI, a return on investment. And number 7, living trusts complicate deals. So
yes, we are going to bust all these misconceptions and explain what we mean by all this. So Chessa, lead us off here with our first myth.
So the myth of you have to do repairs. So myth busted. You don't have to do busted. Yes, some cities do require pre-sale inspections, but in general, repairs are not required by law. Mm-hmm. There are certain things like carbon monoxide devices, smoke alarms, and water bracing that are required. But in general, repairs are a point of negotiation aside from any lender imposed requirements.
That's right. And so, oftentimes, comes from a very good place, but a seller has the mindset that, hey, well, if I'm going to sell my house, do I have to take care of, X, Y, or Z issues that I'm aware of? And the bottom line is you don't. Now, when it comes to the marketing of the home, when it comes to the disclosure of such concerns, yes, you have to disclose those items that are concerned. And if it's a marketing concern, meaning that, it might lead to some questionability about like the desirability of your home. Well, maybe under those circumstances. But what we're speaking about here is that there's I have to do this before I sell my house. And the technical answer is no, you don't. You can sell a house just how it sits, where it's at, how it's at, as is. In fact, that's how your contract reads. RPA, all sales are as is, and repairs are to be negotiated at some point in the contract.
Yeah.
So,
and sometimes if you have a home, maybe there's some deferred maintenance.
Right.
It can be stressful thinking of, in order to sell my house, I have to fix everything.
Correct.
And there's lots of buyers, whether they're DIYing it themselves or investors, someone buying all cash is not going to be looking at lender requirements for anything because they don't have a loan. And so it's definitely worth a conversation with your agent before you do those repairs, rather than afterward and finding out, I could have saved myself a lot of time and energy and not done that.
Right. So there's definitely more to unpack with repairs, but the general answer to this myth, you have to do repairs before you put your home on the market, and that's a no, a resounding no.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a no. So second myth busting is if you price high, if you list your home high, then you'll get more money. And that myth is busted. Because selling a house is not the same as selling a car. You aren't asking, OBO or best offer. Pricing actually at market or a little under is gonna be the best for getting more interest, more offers, and ultimately putting you, the seller, in a position of strength to counter, all of those buyers with, submit your highest and best offer.
Yeah, so it's not unreasonable for a seller to say, well, in an appreciating market, prices are going up. The neighbor, similar house, similar amenities, just sold for X. Let's list our home for X plus so-and-so. And a common statement out there is, well, I don't want to leave any money on the table. Well, actually, none of us want to leave money on the table. And so we talk about pricing strategy. And pricing strategy, when it comes to pricing a home over market value, it actually is a detriment to your effort, because really what's going to occur is the market is going to determine your market price. And obviously, starting the home too low might lead to some inquiry as to if there's something wrong with this house. Why is it priced so low? But what we're suggesting here is, no, you don't price high to get more money. You price just at or below market value. And what that offers to the public is excitement, enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Wow, this seems like a great home. This seems like it's priced right. And then it adds to competition. And it's just the nature of all of us. We want what others want a lot of times, or, so in any case, that market response is what we're hoping for. And that leads to multiple buyers, and oftentimes can lead to multiple offers and a bidding war. And that's a good thing for a home seller. So in any case, definitely not an or best offer type of approach. You know, like, I'm really hoping to get $1 million for my house. Let's list it for 1.1 and see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens.
That's not a good strategy.
Because one thing too with that is, the higher that you price, potentially what happens is your home sits. And when a home sits on the market, and the days on market start to accumulate, the perception from a buyer is like, well, why does nobody want that house?
Correct.
Why is it still sitting if it's so good? And whether it's right or wrong, there becomes this perception that there's something wrong with it.
Especially in today's market, things do not sit on the market very long, so you really have to be mindful of that setback for overpricing your home, staying on the market too long. Bad for you. So
next myth. Spring and summer are the best time to list. So that's actually that's a myth.
That's a myth. It's busted. Why?
Yeah.
But it's spring right now, and we're going into summer.
Trying to encourage people to list.
Yeah, you should list your home.
We're in spring and summer right now, and that's because the pandemic has really changed the seasonality of real estate. So there's definitely the pandemic in play. Also, we're not, Minnesota. We're not a state where we have severe weather and it's really hard to list a property in the snow. We have really nice weather in Southern California. It doesn't make a difference if you're selling in December or in July. And what we like to say is that the best time to list is when it's the actual best time for you to move.
Correct.
Because you can't always choose the right time of year for that. And so we've seen sellers put their home on the market in January and get more than they were hoping for because there were no other homes on the market. So it really is it depends answer.
Yeah, and also the other thing that's addressing here when we say is saying this is the best time of year for you to list is what we're wanting a seller to avoid is trying to time the market. Now, if you're an investor in real estate, buying and selling property frequently, there might be some more analysis that's done that might lend itself to say, I want to pick this or that time. But really, life circumstance usually surrounds the motivation for a home seller to sell their property. And the last thing we'd want is for them to get tripped up because they think, well, I can't list in the fall, I can't list in the winter, I've got to list in spring or summer. Now, honestly, it's spring or summer, so if you're ready to list your home, we're ready to talk to you, so don't miss the message there. But the point is more so, don't try to time it. Do it when it's best for your situation, whatever that is. Moving out of state, downsizing, increasing your house size, job relocation. Those life circumstances are specific to you, and there's a right time, a right way to market your home to get you the most in any market.
Yeah.
In any market. Yeah.
So
moving on.
Then next myth is
this is a big bust.
Aren't all you real estate agents the same? Don't you all do the same exact thing? And that's not true.
That's not true.
Every real estate agent, every brokerage is different, and at KALEO we have a very high standard of professionalism and high level of communication for our agents. And we really want that 5-star experience to be our standard for our clients. And that means when we list homes, there's professional photos, drone video, 3D virtual tours, and a comprehensive marketing package. It also means that everything we're doing is catering towards what works best for you. So if that's hosting an open house or private showings, it's whatever you're really looking for in the sale of your home.
Yeah, and I mean, and here's the thing: it's not to knock other professionals in our industry. We actually have a big network of very qualified, very competent real estate professionals, realtors that we work with. We play well with others, and there's a lot of good professionals. But unfortunately, no, we're not all the same. So there oftentimes you can run up against somebody who doesn't have command of their contracts, doesn't understand the timelines, doesn't understand the rights that the seller possesses, the rights that the buyer has. And when you're going into negotiations, aside from, obviously the awareness that we have to market your property professionally and to get it out in front of as many people as possible, there's the other side of it where, you look at, well, how do you know what's in my best interest? What should I be agreeing to that? Should I not be agreeing to that? Do we have to do this then? Do we not have to do it? All of those nuances are when you're dealing with somebody that has command of the contract, that understands the rights that you have, the rights that the other person has, can do a much better job representing your best interest. And I feel like, more than anything, those are the kind of intangibles. But when you talk to a KALEO real estate agent, I think that you'll find out right away is that this agent, this realtor, actually knows what they're talking about. And that's going to be in the best interest of you in selling your property. And so busted. We busted it up. It's busted.
Myth busted. And again, if you do have any questions, things that you're curious about, there's no bad question. All questions are welcome.
We want to hear some questions for sure.
In the chat. So here's another myth, and this one's kind of interesting. It's you should never accept the first offer. So if you're a seller, you put your home on the market, you get one offer in, does that mean you should just not take the first offer? And that's actually a myth. So the first offer actually could be your only offer and the best offer.
Hopefully
so
it's not going, but yes, it could mean that. Yes.
And again, every market's different, but if you have a very, very unique home, maybe there's just a lot of features in it that might not appeal to everybody.
Right.
The first offer in, it might be a buyer that's very emotionally committed, very financially committed, and you can want to hold out for other offers. And as your agent, if you wanted to hold out and see what else came in, we could always say, yeah, we can wait and see what else comes in.
Right.
But there isn't a rule that says like the first offer you get in, just throw it away. It doesn't mean anything.
Right. Yeah. The first offer being the best offer. Well, you know what? That very well could happen. And honestly, if it meets your goal, obviously the goal being we want to get the most for our home, but we want to get the most for our home. And we want an offer that's actually going to close escrow. So so what we look at is we look at the merit of the offer coming in. It might be something with a very high down payment. It might be that they're waiving their appraisal. It might be that they're shortening the time frames. It may mean that they're accommodating the lease back after sale or the contingency that you might have to find another replacement property. All of those circumstances might play into why that first offer may be your very best offer. But again, just a blanket kind of notion that it's like, well, it's the first offer and we're going to get a better one. Well, maybe not always the case. And so again, a competent agent is going to be able to kind of outline the merits of the offer and then really substantiate if in fact this first offer might be very well the best offer we're going to see coming in, or at least, kind of like bird in the hand, two in the bush. You've heard that? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it might be the bird in the hand that's the better one. So
yeah, and I think too, at the end of the day, we've talked to clients, and it's like if you just are like, I just want to know like what else could happen, what else is out there on the market. You don't feel like you haven't felt like you've kind of turned over every stone. Maybe you're like, what would another weekend of open houses do? It's like as your agent, it's like that's your prerogative if you do want to stay on the market. But we'd always be saying, as we're staying on the market, days on market are accumulating, and we can't guarantee that in a week that same buyer is going to be sitting there on the sidelines ready for you to come back to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a volatile time for interest rates and for a lot of things going on in the world. So the point is, you just the longer you wait, the more time there is for other unknown factors to present themselves and maybe take you off of what you might have had previously. So anyhow, moving on to our next myth. Remodeling.
So this one is actually one that I think a lot of people have a lot of questions about, and that has to do with the myth of remodeling has an ROI, it has a return on investment, and lots of times the idea is that remodeling has a one-to-one ROI, if not more. So if I invest $50,000 in my house right before I put it on the market, I'm going to make that $50,000 back and then some. And so we're busting that myth because that isn't always true.
It's not always true.
And some homeowners believe that if you remodel a bathroom or you spend a certain amount of money that you're guaranteed to get that back